Vanderbilt was the opportunity that I needed. Vanderbilt was the chance that I was praying for.
I think what's most special about Vanderbilt to me is like the people. Like the people make the place.
It has been the best 4 years of my entire life. It truly has just been so special. I think for a lot of reasons. One, the athletics department, especially recently, has just grown and they're giving so much back to us. On top of that, the academics, the professors care for you so much and everyone here truly wants you to succeed, and the people are just great. To meet people from all different walks of life with all different cultures and just come together, I mean, you seriously make the best memories, and it's Nashville, Tennessee. It really doesn't get better than that.
I love being people's cheerleaders. I'm always telling my friends, I'm your biggest fan, I got you. And that's something that I think has really manifested itself in college because everyone's kind of on their own path, doing their own thing. Those little moments and being able to show up for people in their spaces where they're thriving has more impact than I initially noticed.
Having people to walk that path with you is something special, and I really value it.
Different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, maybe different upbringings, different values, and learning to kind of work with them and producing a better product because of the different backgrounds is something that inspired me.
When everyone brings something different to the table and everyone's passionate, it really kind of drives ideas. It's so much easier to brainstorm, and it just worked so great.
I just recently finished my senior design project, and I remember presenting during design day and looking around, and there were 6 of us on the project, and I remember going from person to person. I'm like, wow, this project would not have been the same without their very specific contributions, and I was so grateful for each of the things that they contributed to the project.
Vanderbilt is a special place to me. I kind of joke around and tell people I bleed black and gold. I really do love this place. The people I've met, the memories I've made, I wouldn't imagine going to school anywhere else.
Dare to Grow is probably the perfect way to explain Vanderbilt. There is nothing more that the school pushes than becoming a better version of yourself.
Rumi has a quote that I think about often where he says, if you're irritated at every rub, how can you be polished? Vanderbilt is an opportunity to allow yourself to be polished, to allow yourself to conversations with other people as well as with theologians, with scholars.
To my anchors, thank you so much for the constant support. I am filled with so much gratitude for the journey that I've been able to have, and it is all thanks to you guys.
I have gotten so much more than academics. I've gotten so much more than a degree. I have grown into myself so much.
I think the thing that I'm feeling the most is just love. I feel a lot of love for this university. I've gotten involved in so many different parts of the university, and kind of watching those parts kind of come to a close has been really bittersweet, but I'll always have the memories.
It has been the best 4 years I could have ever imagined or hoped for, and I wish I could do it all again. I wouldn't change a thing.
Please welcome to the podium, Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, C. Sibel Raver.
Good morning, and welcome graduates, families, and friends, and members of the Vanderbilt community. I'm C. Sibel Raver, Vanderbilt's Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. It's a true joy to be with you today, and a privilege to be among the first to congratulate this extraordinary class of 2026. This moment marks more than the completion of your studies. It reflects the ways that you have transformed your understanding of yourself, the world, and our future. What did it take to complete that transformation? It took your curiosity. It took your hard work. It took your commitment to excellence, your collaboration with your friends, your classmates, your teammates, and it took your courage. You've grown intellectually, yes, but you also now understand yourself not only as a learner, but as a leader, ready and willing to shape the world around you. The class of 2026 is remarkable not only for what you have achieved, but for how you have achieved it. In classrooms, in labs, studios, and communities near and far, you've asked hard questions, embraced complexity, and sought solutions that matter. You have strengthened Vanderbilt and left a lasting imprint on this community. And as you prepare to cross the stage tomorrow, I want you to carry this with you. Our faculty loved working with you. The Chancellor and I are so proud of you. Your families believe in you, and we have every confidence in all that you will do next. We're fortunate to be joined today by an aspiring group of speakers, including our distinguished guest of honor, Arthur Brooks, whose work on leadership, purpose, and happiness has challenged and guided leaders across sectors and around the world. You'll also hear from our visionary Chancellor, Daniel Diermeyer, as well as representatives from the class of 2026 and the global alumni community you are about to join. But first, it is my great honor to recognize a group of students whose academic achievements represent the very highest standards across Vanderbilt schools and colleges. Please join me in celebrating the recipients of the 2026 Founders Medals. First, Jiha Zhang from Shanghai, China, is this year's Founders Medalist for the College of Arts and Science. A classical and Mediterranean studies major, Jiha earned high honors for a thesis examining Thucydides' account of the Sicilian expedition through the lens of Greek tragedy. What began with a first Latin class grew into a passion spanning languages and continents, leading her to master Latin, ancient Greek, and German, to pursue archaeological fieldwork in Israel and Italy, research in Germany and Greece, and study abroad in Rome. Her Immersion Vanderbilt project, a creative tour of foreign deities in ancient Rome, reflects her gift for bringing the ancient world to life. And beyond the classroom, she has served as an Iliad mentor and an education intern at the Nashville Parthenon, helping others connect with new cultures and ideas. She plans to pursue, of course, a PhD in classics. Congratulations, Jiha. Next, we have Catherine Brenmark of Plainfield, Illinois, is this year's Founders Medalist for the Blair School of Music. A bassoon performance major and psychology minor, Catherine has shaped her Vanderbilt experience through both musical excellence and intellectual exploration. One of her most meaningful moments came this spring performing Mahler's Symphony No. 2, a powerful, full-circle experience that echoed her first encounter with the piece as a first-year student and marked the close of her time at Blair. Catherine embraced a wide range of opportunities, from diving deeply into music technology to mentoring fellow students in the Music Tech Lab. Her senior recital, her Immersion Vanderbilt project, brought together years of growth, collaboration, and artistic development. Just weeks before graduate auditions, Catherine faced a serious injury that temporarily sidelined her playing. But with determination and the support of her Blair community, she returned stronger, carrying that resilience forward. She plans to pursue graduate study in bassoon performance. Congratulations, Catherine. Isabel Draper of Atlanta, Georgia, is this year's Founders Medalist for the Divinity School. During their time at Vanderbilt, Isabel pursued a call to ordained ministry through rigorous theological study and deep engagement with the community. In the classroom, Isabel explored complex questions of faith, including a transformative course on the resurrection, which reshaped their experience of Easter and deepened their theological understanding. A challenging introduction to the New Testament course further pushed Isabel to deconstruct and reconstruct the relationship with Scripture, an experience that continues to inform Isabel's approach to ministry. Beyond campus, their field education at Dismas House, Nashville, offered hands-on experience, accompanying men re-entering society after incarceration. Through this work, Isabel gained a deeper understanding of accountability, forgiveness, and the complexities of faith in practice. Isabel is especially proud of their thesis on reimagining the concept of original sin for progressive Christians, a project that sparked meaningful dialogue and reflection among their peers. Grounded by the support and shared journey of their cohort, Isabel leaves Vanderbilt prepared to serve the church with thoughtfulness, compassion, and a deep respect for theological tradition. Congratulations, Isabel. Yiming Chen from Nanjing, China, is this year's Founders Medalist for the School of Engineering. A double major in chemical engineering and chemistry, Yiming earned honors in both fields, completing and defending 2 separate honors theses, a rare and remarkable achievement. His research spans both computational and experimental chemistry, including work on nanomaterials and catalytic systems, and has already led to a first author publication, yay, multiple collaborative papers, and an invention disclosure. Along the way, he balanced demanding research with coursework, national lab collaboration, and PhD applications, demonstrating both discipline and drive. Mentored by faculty across disciplines, Yiming has pursued questions at the intersection of science and engineering, always with an eye toward real-world impact. He plans to continue this work at UC Berkeley, where he will pursue a PhD exploring energy, catalysis, and nanomaterials. Congratulations, Yiming. Ryan Kowalski of Taunton, Massachusetts, is this year's Founders Medalist for the Graduate School. A PhD researcher in physics, Ryan has combined scientific curiosity with collaborative spirit throughout his time at Vanderbilt. His graduate journey was shaped early on by disruptions of the pandemic, which pushed him to expand beyond the lab, developing strength in simulation research design and big picture thinking that ultimately strengthened his work. Along the way, he contributed to research on quantum technologies, including a National Security Innovation Network Fellowship, studying radiation effects on quantum devices. Ryan also brought his passion for science beyond the lab, helping leading Vanderbilt's Engineering Ambassadors Network and inspiring the next generation through hands-on STEM research. And yes, he'll tell you one of his most memorable moments was watching the Vanderbilt football team beat Alabama. Ryan plans to continue his work in research, carrying forward a deep commitment to teamwork, to mentorship, and discovery. Congratulations, Ryan. Nicholas Wallenberg of Lexington, Kansas, is this year's Founders Medalist for the Law School and the first in his family to become an attorney. He earned the Archie B. Martin Memorial Prize for Scholarship and Scholastic Excellence awards across a wide range of courses, including torts, contracts, evidence, administrative law, constitutional law, and corporations. Nick served as editor-in-chief of the Vanderbilt Law Review and as an articles editor for the Environmental Law and Policy Annual Review. He was also a member of the National Moot Court and mock trial teams. He later volunteered as a judge, noting that he learned as much in that role as he did competing. After many years of competitive debate, he initially planned to become a litigator, but he was inspired to pursue an academic career by faculty mentors in the Vanderbilt Legal Academy Scholars Program, where he served as a research and teaching assistant. After graduation, he would clerk for federal judges before pursuing a future in academia, where he hopes to study legal decision-making and educate the next generation of lawyers. Congratulations, Nick. Caroline Castleman of Devon, Pennsylvania, is this year's Founders Medalist for the Vanderbilt University School of Medicine. A dedicated and compassionate medical student, Caroline distinguished herself through her commitment to patient care, leadership, and advocacy for underserved populations. At Vanderbilt, Caroline served as co-student director of the university's 3 pediatrics and adolescent psychiatry clinics, helping lead care for uninsured youth. She managed a patient panel, coordinated clinics, and worked with faculty and peers to expand services, strengthening mental health screenings, improving access to specialty care, and supporting patients through complex challenges. Her clinical experiences shaped her path. During a rotation in inpatient child psychiatry, Caroline worked closely with young patients in crisis, using therapeutic activities to build trust and connection, an experience that deepened her commitment to caring for children and adolescents. Caroline also served on the school's medicine curriculum committee, representing her peers and working with leadership to enhance medical education experience. She plans to continue her training and residency, carrying forward a commitment to compassionate care and patient advocacy. Congratulations, Caroline. Bobby Midkiff of Jacksonville, Florida, is this year's Founders Medalist for the School of Nursing. A student in nursing informatics, Bobby's Vanderbilt journey has been defined by growth, connection, and a deepening sense of purpose. As a remote learner, Bobby found meaningful community during on-campus intensives where time with classmates and faculty brought his experience to life. Along the way, he overcame early self-doubt, gaining confidence in his place at Vanderbilt and in his future in the field. Inspired by dedicated faculty mentors, Bobby discovered a passion for nursing informatics and a calling to teach, shaping his goal of one day returning to the classroom as a professor. He leaves Vanderbilt proud of the progress he's made and the relationships that he's built, carrying forward a commitment to learning, to mentorship, and giving back. Congratulations, Bobby. Brian Kuby of Randolph, New Jersey, is this year's Founders Medalist for the Owen Graduate School of Management. An MBA candidate and Bruce D. Henderson Scholar, Brian distinguished himself through both academic excellence and a deep commitment to leadership and mentorship. At Owen, Brian brought people together, organizing the Owen Marketing Symposium and connecting students with the alumni from across the country eager to share their experience and insight. He also gave his time to broader community, supporting Vanderbilt's Next Steps program and helping prepare neurodiverse students for job interviews. During his internship with Conagra Brands, Brian led the development of a go-to-market strategy for major product category, gaining hands-on experience in brand management, strategy, and cross-functional leadership. Back on campus, he served as a teaching assistant in marketing strategy and management communications, where he found a passion for mentoring others. Brian plans to build and lead businesses, carrying forward a commitment to thoughtful leadership, collaboration, and impact. Congratulations, Brian. Emma Mann of New Palestine, India, is this year's Founders Medalist for Peabody College of Education and Human Development. A human and organizational development major, Emma has shaped her Vanderbilt experience through resilience, compassion, and a deep commitment to serving others. After a life-altering heart diagnosis redirected her path, Emma found new purpose, transforming personal challenge into a source of strength and perspective. Inspired by mentors and her work with children and families, she developed a passion for psychosocial care and research focused on supporting those navigating illness and adversity. Emma's impact extends from the classroom to the community, where she built meaningful relationships through Vanderbilt's Anchorthon and her work with young students, always centering connection, care, and joy. Her global experiences through travel-embedded courses further broadened her perspective and deepened her commitment to serving diverse communities. Emma plans to pursue a PhD in clinical psychology at the University of Kentucky with a focus on expanding access to care for children and families. Congratulations, Emma. Congratulations again to all our Founders Medalists. Your accomplishments are truly inspiring. We are so truly proud to celebrate you all today. Up next, we'll hear from a couple of our graduates as they reflect on what their Vanderbilt experience has meant to them, the values they've gained, the ways they've grown, and the lifelong community that they are now a part of. First, we'll hear from Candace Warner, who will be graduating as a double major with a Bachelor of Arts in Medicine, Health, and Society, and Communication of Science and Technology, and a minor in business. Following Candace, we will hear from Hannah Richards, graduating with her PhD in chemistry.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Class of 2026, let's walk through our time together. This is weird to say, but I've always thought that we got the best of COVID. 8 years ago, in the fall of 2018, we began our freshman year of high school. We got a completely normal experience until March of 2020, and we all know what happened then. The older grades missed out on proms, graduations, and other traditions, but by the time it was our senior year, everything felt normal again. And in my opinion, the younger grades will never understand what high school was like before the pandemic. I think we are very, very lucky. Then in fall of 2022, almost 4 years ago, we were freshmen all over again, and our good fortune followed us. As someone who lived in Gillette freshman year, I felt lucky that the infamous flood happened the year before we moved in. We got to have the OG Rand cookie all 4 years, had the opportunity to take the famous elections class as seasoned juniors with flexible schedules. Timothy Chalamet wandered around campus, Cynthia Erivo came, and College Game Day came for the first time since 2008. As already mentioned, never forget the Pavia era, where we shocked the world our junior year with that Alabama win, and we beat our Tennessee rivals at their own stadium this year, and so many other well-earned feats. Again, we were privileged. The underclassmen have not watched our school grow the way we have, and if I graduated last year earlier, I know that I would feel very left out. Beyond the headlines and the highlights, it was the everyday moments that made our time here special. Those sunny days on Alumni lawn, random Dunkin' gift cards passed out on campus, getting to pick your own group in a class with your friends, and acing those bright space quizzes. So a message to my peers: whether you are continuing your education, starting a professional career, or pursuing a different path, you will succeed. Not only are we Vanderbilt graduates, but the class of 2026 seems to have luck on our side. Throughout high school and college, we have consistently been in the right places at the right times. So I can only imagine what's in store for this lucky class beyond. To the siblings and friends in the crowd on a different timeline who feel a little cheated, sorry, but this one's for us. Congrats to the blessed class of 2026.
Today, I want to tell you a story or a memory of mine. The first time I was asked to draw a scientist. I was sitting in a high school chemistry classroom. I first drew the lab bench, the glassware, the experiment, and then I paused. Because when it came time to draw the scientist, I didn't draw what I saw others around me drawing. I drew someone else. I drew a young woman, her hair pulled back, focused, still figuring it out. I didn't know it then, but I was drawing my future. But here's the truth. I didn't grow up in a place where that future made sense. I was told I asked too many questions. I was told to be quieter, smaller, easier. And for a long time, the world answered my questions with 2 words: just because. And then I found science. And science didn't silence my questions, it demanded them. So I kept asking, and I kept pushing, and I kept going, even when I had no roadmap, no safety net, and no reason to believe that I would ever belong in a room like this one. First generation, working class, just different. And still, I kept going. Because somewhere along the way, I realized something. The people who change the world are usually the ones who are told not to. So, to the graduates sitting here today, you may have been surrounded by expectations for a long time. Expectations of success, of stability, of what your life is supposed to look like. Whether you felt certain every step of the way, or whether you built your path out of doubt, resilience, and sheer determination, this is not the moment you've been working toward. This is the moment you've been working from. You are not finished. You are not behind. You are the question that refused to be silenced. You are the answer the world didn't know it needed. And just like that silly little drawing of mine in high school all those years ago, you might not fully see it yet, but you were already there. So go forward, ask too many questions, and build something that didn't exist before you imagined it. This moment isn't merely about starting a new chapter. It's the moment you realize the future is no longer ahead of you. It's within you. Congratulations, graduates.
Welcome, class of 2026, and let me add my congratulations. It is my honor to be with you all on this special day. My name is Todd Graham, and I am the president of the Vanderbilt Alumni Association. Like many of the over 150,000 Vanderbilt alum across the globe, my 4 years on campus were incredibly influential and shaped so many aspects of my life, from amazing academic experiences to lifelong friendships. So much of who I am today can be directly like today. What I do remember is an amazing sense of accomplishment to quietly reflect on your Vanderbilt experience, not just the classes or exams or organizations, but the people. There are names that will immediately come to mind. For me, it's Dean Bob Stammer, Dr. Richard Spees, Dr. Todd Giorgio, Dr. Sankaran Mahadevan, Bill Choate, Jennifer, Susan, and Brian. These individuals made a meaningful and lasting impact on my years at Vanderbilt that I carry with me to this day. Who was it that helped you get here? Which professor or staff member saw your potential and helped you reach it? Which classmate would drop everything to help you in a time of need? Then, find a way to say thank you. Maybe it's a text message or an email, or maybe it's a handwritten note to that professor who saw something in you that you did not see in yourself. And don't wait for that chance meeting in the Nashville airport 30 years later like I experienced earlier this year. But mark this time as your first official act as a member of the Vanderbilt alumni community, an act of giving back with gratitude as you launch your next chapter. Your Vanderbilt Alumni Association is excited to be a part of whatever your future holds after graduation. Your life membership in the association is automatic. There are never dues to pay, and everything is open to everyone. With alumni in over 140 countries and counting, you will find fellow Commodores everywhere, from Nashville to Los Angeles and from London to Tokyo. Be sure to connect with your alumni wherever you land, and especially in Vanderbilt chapters. Let us know where you are and what you're doing. Connect with us on social media. Every class of graduating students stands on the shoulders of generous alumni who have come before. Through your support of your class gifts and more, you have already acknowledged the importance of giving back and paying it forward. I encourage you to always stay engaged to help past, current, and future students succeed as you have. It will take all of us to help make this Vanderbilt community continue to thrive. Welcome to your Alumni Association. Vanderbilt is indeed for life. And now we will hear from Ava Hendrickson from the Seniors Give Back program on the powerful impact of giving back to our university and the great privilege and pleasure we share in being Vanderbilt for life.
Hello, my name is Ava Hendrickson, and I had the pleasure of serving on the class of 2026 Seniors Give Back board. Seniors Give Back is a unique organization that gives students the opportunity to give back to the departments, organizations, and communities that shaped their experience at Vanderbilt. By giving directly to those that impacted us the most, students help ensure success for future generations of Commodores. Throughout this past year, we had the opportunity to connect with students across campus through tabling events, outreach campaigns, and one-on-one conversations. In those moments, we saw students begin to understand that giving is not about the size of the gift, but about being part of something bigger than themselves. Whether it was a first-time donor or someone encouraging their friends to give, each interaction helped build a stronger culture of participation and collective impact within our class. I'm proud to share that the class of 2026 achieved an outstanding level of giving participation. Although our time as students is coming to an end, these generous gifts from seniors have helped build our unique legacy that will last far beyond our years at Vanderbilt. Thank you to each and every student that made a gift, large or small. I also want to express my gratitude to our amazing Seniors Give Back board officers and our partners in Experience Vanderbilt for their tireless efforts in leading the charge. To our advisor, Crandall Cager, thank you so much for your endless support and dedication. Finally, I want to thank the multiple Vanderbilt Board of Trust members who generously donated to Experience Vanderbilt in honor of the class of 2026. This chapter of our lives, our college experience, officially concludes as we cross the stage tomorrow, and we can each take pride that we have left our mark on Vanderbilt University. We are VU for life. On behalf of the class of 2026, I have the honor and privilege of presenting this representation of our journey together. Don't forget to wear your Seniors Give Back cord commemorating your gift so we can all see the collective impact we have made as a class when we are together tomorrow at Commencement. Congratulations and anchor down.
Thank you, class of 2026. It is now my honor to introduce our next speaker, Chancellor Daniel Diermeier. An internationally renowned political scientist, management scholar, and visionary leader, Diermeier is Vanderbilt's 9th chancellor. Since 2020, Chancellor Diermeier has led a number of ambitious initiatives to increase Vanderbilt's impact and reach and to expand its global presence and reputation. A nationally recognized leader in free speech and civil discourse, he drives efforts to create a culture of radical collaboration, open dialogue, and personal growth that embraces wide-ranging points of view so that Vanderbilt students and faculty can realize their potential and lead in a complex, ever-changing world. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Daniel Diermeier.
Good morning, everyone. I am delighted to welcome you to this special occasion in honor of the Vanderbilt class of 2026. Graduates Day is one of Vanderbilt's most memorable traditions, made especially noteworthy this year by the memorial magic of our return to this historic and beloved venue. On this day, we gather to celebrate our newest graduates and to reflect on the shared values that define our one Vanderbilt community. We do so by recognizing a leader whose life and work challenge us to think more deeply about how we live, how we lead, and how we serve. This year, it is hard to imagine a person more suited to that role than Arthur Brooks. Arthur is an internationally acclaimed scholar, best-selling author, and one of the world's leading voices on happiness and the pursuit of a meaningful life. His scholarship brings together science, ancient wisdom, and public life in a way that is both intellectually rigorous and widely accessible. Much of his career has been devoted to a question that is both time-honored and timely, both simple and deeply profound. What does it mean to live a good life? And his work surrounding these questions offers a powerful source of hope. Arthur taught us that the secret to happiness is not simply doing what we love, but learning to love what we do to help others. He encourages us to think about success not in terms of status, but service. His work leads us on a journey toward genuine fulfillment on a path illuminated less by personal gains than good acts. Arthur Brooks is the author of more than a dozen books, including the New York Times bestseller, Build the Life You Want, co-authored with Oprah Winfrey, and From Strengths to Strengths, an influential exploration of purpose in the second half of life. His newest book, The Meaning of Your Life, Finding Purpose in an Age of Emptiness, continues that work at a moment when many in society are yearning for more clarity, authentic well-being, and human connection. Arthur has also brought these ideas into the public square through his organizational leadership and service. As an advisor, an expert on charitable giving, he authored the widely read book, Who Really Cares?, and supports several nonprofits with his wife, Esther. Arthur previously served as president of the national think tank and the American Enterprise Institute. He's a contributor to CBS News, a columnist for the Free Press, and host of the podcast Office Hours, where he engages audiences around the world on questions of happiness. And we are particularly happy and very proud that Arthur will join our faculty here at Vanderbilt. Beginning this July, Arthur will serve as an endowed professor of medicine, health, and society in our College of Arts and Science, where he will help to connect our scholarship with the broader world and advance our shared commitment to human flourishing. To our 2026 graduates, I am certain Arthur's words will have much to offer as you begin your next chapters, and as you continue to realize the full potential of your Vanderbilt education in your own lives and in the lives of others. And now, before we have the pleasure of hearing these words, I have the profound honor, on behalf of Vanderbilt University, of presenting to Arthur Brooks the 2026 Nichols-Chancellor's Medal. The Chancellor's Medal, the Nichols-Chancellor's Medal, is awarded by Vanderbilt University to these persons who define the 20th century and exemplify the best quality of the human spirit. The medal was established by Edward and Janice Nichols in memory of Efford Carmack Nichols and Lucile Hamby Nichols. On behalf of Vanderbilt University, I am honored to present the Nichols-Chancellor Medal to this year's most deserving recipient, Arthur C. Brooks.
Thank you, Chancellor Diermeyer. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you especially to Ed and Janice Nichols for honoring me with this Chancellor's Medal. And thanks most especially to the whole community of Vanderbilt University. I am so proud and honored to join you as a faculty member at this great university. I'm excited in the coming years to bring the science of happiness, the subject that I write, speak, and teach about, to Vanderbilt, America's most entrepreneurial university. Together, I believe that we can make Vanderbilt the intellectual center for the science of happiness, maybe the happiest university in the world. For those of you graduating, you're going to miss it. But of course you're not, because you will be a member of this community for the rest of your lives, starting 15 minutes after commencement when you get your first fundraising call. And the truth of the matter is that your quest for happiness, the subject that I study, is really still ahead of you for the next 70 or 80 years, how many years you get, maybe more. But that requires a different kind of knowledge than what you got in college. That requires an ongoing education, a journey in the business of life. And that's what I want to talk with you about today. In college, you're largely concerned with a couple of questions: how to do things, and what you want to do after you finish college. Maybe you know the answers to those questions. Maybe you're still looking. You will figure out the how-to and the what, maybe at the beginning of your career. But the truth of the matter is that there's a more important question lurking behind your education and the way that you want to live, which of course is the why of your life, the meaning of your life, your mission, your purpose, your calling. That's a journey that will take you across the decades. All of us are on that particular journey. It's thrilling. I want to start with a little test to see where you are on that journey. This is the test that I give my students, that I've been giving my students for 10 years now. 2-question exam for you. I want you to think about these questions inside your head to see where you are in your progress on the why of your life. Question number 1, why are you alive? Now maybe you answer that question inside your head with respect to who created you, or for what purpose, or for both. Here's the second question, maybe a harder one. Why would you give your life right now, happily? Now, if your answers to that question come to your mind immediately, good. We're going to refine those ideas today, and you will refine these ideas in the decades to come. But if you don't have questions, which many people don't, that's good too, because now you know where to start. Now, you can't find answers to why am I alive and for what would I give my life in the traditional places that we see today. Online, ask Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT what you'd die for, and you'll get useless nonsense. It'll tell you, well, that's a very nice question that you're answering. It's not helpful. See, you have to seek this by being fully alive in real life, in your deepest self, in your way. Now, 25 years ago, the first time I gave a graduation talk in my academic career, I wouldn't have given a speech about finding life's meaning. Most people felt they knew what it was back then. But today, well, that isn't true. This is the biggest crisis that we face. We all see the stunning statistics about the tripling of clinical depression among adults under 30, the doubling of generalized anxiety, loneliness, addiction, even self-harm. What lies behind these stunning statistics is the feeling that life doesn't have meaning, that we don't know what we're meant to do. And this is a strange thing. I look at data all day long. I'm a quantitative social scientist. And I've been looking at data on the answer to the question, does your life feel meaningless? The answer was no for practically everybody, until 2008. In 2008, suddenly it exploded. Can you think of something that happened around 2008? I'll remind you that there's something in your pocket that wouldn't have been there before 2008. And I'm going to come back to that. But I see this crisis around me. I see it in my students. Look, I see it in my children. My kids are 28, 26, and 23, and they struggle just like everybody else with finding life's meaning and finding that it feels more empty than it used to. My middle son, his name is Carlos, turning 26 this month, as a matter of fact, and when my son Carlos was an 18-year-old graduating from high school, well, he's my middle son, so he's obviously a problem. He was no exception to that rule of social science, but I mean, it was always sort of the same thing, bright boy not living up to his highest potential. We got a call from the headmaster of his prep school every week or so. Carlos just got an F in math. Carlos didn't pass history. Carlos didn't show up for his exams today. Carlos might not graduate with his class. And finally, my wife, who's an optimist, she's from Spain. They're very optimistic people. She said, well, at least we know he's not cheating. But here's the problem. He wasn't even having fun. It was just scrolling and gaming and watching videos. There was nothing good happening there. Life didn't have any meaning at all. Now, when it came time for Carlos to go to college at 18, I asked him to write a little business plan. What was in the business plan? Tell me the answers to the questions. Where are you going to find the answers to your 2 questions? Why am I alive? For what would I give my life? And he did a very perfunctory job. He said, I guess I'll go to college and maybe I'll study business and then I'll play some sports and get out. I said, no, I don't believe it. Why? Because, hey, I'm a business school professor. You know what's supposed to go in a business plan? Something I'm going to believe, because he's the entrepreneur of his life and I'm the venture capitalist. And so I said, try again. Do something bolder where you actually might find the answers to these questions. So he did. He revised his business plan and he did something different. He didn't go to college the way you did. He took a different path. Carlos went and worked on a farm in Idaho, a dryland wheat farm, 16 hours a day, pulling rocks out of the soil, the low man in the hierarchy. Made $11 an hour. Didn't have anything to spend it on because there was nothing to spend money on there. And after 13 months, then he went to the second part of his business plan to find the why of his life. He joined the U.S. Marine Corps. He went to boot camp in Parris Island, South Carolina, the infantry training battalion at a Camp Lejeune, and then he joined the Scout Sniper Platoon at a Camp Pendleton in California. And that was hard, hardest thing he ever did. But I'm telling you, it changed his life. Changed all of our lives, as a matter of fact, because he came out after 4 years a changed man at age 23. You will know them by their fruits. He was married and had a son at 23. That's a subversive act in America today. Today, just turning 26, he has 2 sons and a sense of purpose. I'm going to tell you what it is in a minute. I'm going to tell you what his answers to those questions are. But first, let me tell you what was going wrong in the first place, and what's going wrong for a lot of people, and what can go wrong for a lot of us. Your great degree from Vanderbilt is no insurance against the meaninglessness crisis. What's going wrong is that we're using our brains wrong. There's a wonderful theory, and it's very current in neuroscience today. It's called hemispheric lateralization. That's just an esoteric way of saying the 2 hemispheres of your brain, right and left, do different things. We put the fancy words on it because that's how we get tenure. The right side of your brain and the left side of your brain, well, they have managerial control over 2 different parts of life. Let me explain how they work. The left side of your brain is the complicated side. It's the facts and information side. It answers all the how-to and what questions. You used it a lot in college. You got good at different things. Those weren't the meaning of your life, but you learned skills. Left side of your brain. There's a wonderful neuroscientist here at Vanderbilt, James Booth, who shows in his research that the language centers in your brain are largely left hemispheric. Why? Because if you can answer a question with precision, it's usually a how-to and what question. And that's a really important thing to do. In the right hemisphere, we don't find precision, we find intuition. The right side of your brain deals with not complicated problems, based on information and facts, but complex problems of mystery and love and transcendence and faith, the meaning questions of your life. Those are the right hemisphere questions. These can't be taught. They can't even be completely articulated. They have to be lived. That's where the life in life resides, the why questions of your life. My car is a complicated left hemisphere thing. I don't know how it works, but I could figure it out with enough information. My marriage is a complex thing. I understand it perfectly, and I will never solve it. Before I came out here today, I got a text from my wife, and she said, "Good luck. I love you. I believe it. Tonight when I get home, she might be super mad at me. I don't know." And that's why I love my marriage. So here's the thing. We get really good at the complicated left side stuff, but what we care about are the complex things on the right. That's the life in life. And here we have a problem, my friends. Life today is all on the left-hand side. Since 2008 or so, we've gone from asking complex questions about mystery and meaning to being bombarded by data and information about complicated questions that we never even asked. We've created the means to stay in the left hemisphere all day, every day. How do I know that? Because the average American looks at her or his phone 205 times, which is a singular act of forcing yourself into the non-meaning part of your brain. Life has become kind of a simulation of real life, hasn't it? You can't actually simulate meaning. You can just look at things that seem like they might be important. In short, we stopped using our brains right. And in the process, we got rid of the sense of meaning. And that's what we need to get back. Now, first of all, why do we do such a crazy thing? Why would we do such a self-destructive thing? And here's the answer. Because we solved a problem. Boredom. People hate being bored because it's boring. We don't want to be bored. We don't like it. But Mother Nature doesn't care. Mother Nature wants you to be bored. When you're bored, when you're undistracted by other matters, your brain uses what's called the default mode network, a series of structures that leads to mind wandering, to flights of fancy, to questions of meaning. If you can keep that off, you won't be bored, but you won't find meaning. I have a colleague. His name is Daniel Gilbert, a great psychologist, one of the great visionary psychologists of our time, as a matter of fact, and he's done experiments on boredom to see how much we hate it. He brings undergraduates into his laboratory because they'll do anything for $20, and he asks them to sit in a chair and do nothing. Just sit in a chair and do nothing. Nothing to look at, nothing to listen to. They can only actually do one thing. They get a little key fob with a button on it. If they press the button, they self-administer a painful electric shock. He wants to know, what do you prefer, boredom or pain? 25% of the women shock themselves. 2/3 of the men. So this is really an experiment about the difference between the genders, actually, I think. But the whole point is this: that thing in your pocket, it's just a shock machine so that you won't be bored. And here's the problem. It's actually weirdly made life unexplainably boring. If I go back and I think about my great-grandfather, Leroy Brooks, born in 1862. I don't know anything really about him, but I strongly suspect that his brain worked differently than mine today. I bet he never came home and said to his wife, my great-grandmother, "Honey, I had a panic attack behind the mule today." But here's the thing, and here's the irony. From moment to moment behind that mule, his life was excruciatingly boring, but his life overall wasn't boring, not one bit. But if you spend 12 hours a day looking at your phone, you're never bored moment to moment, but your life is a grind. That's the irony when you don't use your brain the way it's designed. So what do we do? What do we do? What's the assignment? What's my homework for all of you as you graduate? First of all, stop being managed. Stand up, as they said in the 60s, to the man. Actually, stand up to the machine. There's evidence that's overwhelming that technology is highly addictive. Some of the top neuroscientists in the world are showing this, such as a professor right here, Aaron Calipari, who runs Vanderbilt Center for Addiction Research and actually has used the best science available to show that social media is addictive as our screens, just like drugs and alcohol. So what do we need? We need the discipline that would come from any other activity. It's actually quite simple. I teach this all the time in my classes to my students. I talk about the neurocognitive programming of not using your device for the first hour of the day, the important neurochemicals that you get by not using your devices as you eat, the importance to your relationships as you don't use them in the last hour before you go to sleep. We need to have that kind of discipline. Second, we need to live in an old-fashioned way, more like my great-grandfather, Leroy, things that he would have taken for granted. For example, asking the big questions that can't be Googled, questions that don't have clear answers. Look, why are you alive, and for what will you give your life, are not Googleable questions, and that's how you know they're questions of meaning. And when you simply ask bigger questions, you open up the right hemisphere of your brain. There's a developmental psychologist right here at Vanderbilt University, Georgine Troseth, who's shown that kids learn deeply when they're asked what she calls dialogic questions. What does that just mean? That just means they don't have answers. It just makes you think. The questions that don't have answers are the really human questions. That means deep conversations without devices, talking about God and death and love. And on love, this is what else could have been taken for granted and no longer is. One of the most complex things to do. The first assignment for many of you graduating from college, give your heart away, which really opens up the right side. Fall in love, truly a scary thing. Impossible to solve. I defy you to find an algorithm, an app, that will adequately solve the problem of romantic love because it's so complex. I teach my students that to be a true entrepreneur in life, don't risk your money, risk your heart. I was talking about this to a large group of 20-somethings in Washington, D.C., the world's most dysfunctional dating market. And I said, if you really want to be a life entrepreneur, show it. Take the risk, give your heart away. 2 weeks later, I was on an airplane, and a young guy came up to me, and he said, I saw that speech in DC about giving my heart away, being a real entrepreneur. I can't get it out of my head. I said, thank you. He said, I'm on my way right now to confess my love to a woman that I've secretly admired for 2 years. She has no idea. And I said, it was only a speech. I ran into him 3 months later at a holiday party. I came up to him and I said, remember me? And he said, yep. I said, so how'd it go? And he said, she shot me down. It was so bad, he said, that she introduced me to the guy that she was in love with. It was a complete humiliation. And I said, I'm sorry. I was very contrite. I said, I don't mean to wreck your life. This is, you know. And he said, no, I've actually been meaning to call you and thank you. And I said, thank me? For what? And he said, that was the thing I was most worried about in my life. I was so scared. And the thing I was most afraid of happened, and I didn't die. And now I'm okay for the rest of my life. He found meaning through the suffering. And last but not least is a sense of transcendence in your life, your faith, your service to others. You learn a lot about the physics of life and the how to and what, but the metaphysics of life, that's where the action is. That's what ties it all together. Look to something outside of yourself in a spirit of love. Stand in awe. This will illuminate the meaning of your life like literally nothing else. Your faith, your religion, your spirituality, if you have that. Faith is a very right brain phenomenon. In point of fact, as a behavioral scientist, I will tell you that my Christian faith is the single most important thing in my life because I need both hemispheres of my brain. This may be true for you and it may not, and there are other ways, however, for you to find this transcendence. For example, in the service and love for others, especially those with whom you have nothing in common, who can't really give you anything in return. The people who don't have the privilege that you have from graduating from this great university, who don't have this education, but who do need the benefit of what you can give. To serve and love even, I don't know, people you disagree with. What a crazy subversive idea that is, to love others in a spirit of transcending yourself across ideological differences. Now, that's a hard thing to do. That defies your animal impulses. It serves your moral aspirations, which is your most complex self. Here's an exhortation to that. In this modern world where people hate each other because of differences of opinion, here's an exhortation to find the meaning in your life of not doing that. Here's a quote. Seek out other stories, other viewpoints, even those you don't like, so that you might better know the world and be continuously reminded of our common humanity. In other words, by listening with compassion to your enemies, you'll find the meaning in your life. Those aren't my words, by the way. It's not my quote. Those are the words of your chancellor, Daniel Diermeyer, in last year's commencement. Want to know why I'm here? Because this is a university that lives those values, and I want to be part of this. That's what I want to be part of. I want to be part of that. When my son Carlos came back from the U.S. Marine Corps, he had answers. He was living answers. What had he done in the Marine Corps? He'd had deep conversations all night long without devices, which were illegal. He had close friendships that he will hold for life, people that he truly loves. He fell in love with somebody and married her at the age of 22. He served others, even risking his life to do that. And in so doing, he found the meaning of his life. Here's his answers. I asked him when he came out of the service, son, why are you alive? And he said, because God made me to serve others. For what would you give your life? He said, that's an easy question. I signed a contract with the government. I would give my life, obviously, for my faith and my family, but for my fellow Marines and for the United States of America. That's my boy. That's why he's happy. And finally, at 26, he's actually ready for college. He's finishing up 2 years of community college, getting ready to transfer to the big leagues. I said, where do you want to go, son? And he said, well, what about Vanderbilt? And I said, they only let in 2.9%. We have very high standards at my new school, I said. And Carlos said, Dad, don't you know a guy? Maybe. Look, his path is not your path. His beliefs, his values are not your beliefs and not your values. You have to find your own, and that's the thrill. That's where it begins. That's the fun in life. That's the journey that awaits. I'm so proud to be in this community and watch all of you start that journey. And as you continue through your lives, staying connected to this great university, to be part of your life and part of your journey as well. God bless you. Congratulations and thank you.
Amazing. Now you know why I'm super excited as a provost to have such an amazing person join our faculty. Thank you, Mr. Brooks, for your incredibly inspiring remarks and for sharing your insights on your family, your amazing ways in which you have shaped our thoughts, our beliefs, our values, your views of our leadership, your leadership, and all of these wonderful people's leadership and the purpose of life have been incredibly, incredibly valuable to us. Your work has helped to shape so many of us to better understand what it means not just to succeed, but to flourish. And that message resonates so deeply with each of us here today, and especially with our graduates as they prepare to take their next steps. We are truly grateful for your presence and for the perspective that you've shared with the Vanderbilt community. Class of 2026, this brings our Graduates Day celebration to a close. Thank you for being part of this incredibly special moment. I invite you and your guests to continue the celebration in the David Williams II Recreation and Wellness Center. It's an indoor practice facility. It's through 3 p.m. and it'll offer food, music, and time to gather, reflect, and celebrate together. Of course, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at First Bank Stadium and across campus for commencement. Enjoy the afternoon, and once again, congratulations.